どうも、ベンです。クリスさんいらっしゃい。こそこそ。にやー。Hello, this is Ben. コメント欄一気に消えたのどうしたんだろう。今回はお絵かきちょっとやろうかなって思います。お絵かき何描こう。I have no idea what I want to draw, but I'm deciding that this stream is an art stream. I have decided, and so I will doodle something. 何を描こう。そう、サンブレイク、モンハンライズのサンブレイクが今月の終わりに発売されるそうで、まだ予約できてない。というかやりたいこと多いからな。思ってるよりも、まあゲームもやりたいけど、他のこともしたい。ただサンブレイクはね、やりたいね。ゴアマガラが出るそうですよ。もひょー。ゴアマガラかわいいね。なんかシールでルナガロンとなんだっけ、ヴァンパイアっぽいサンブレイクのボスだと思われるドラゴン、なんだっけ、なんか出てくるそうですけど、メルゼナ、シールのデザインがね、なんか出てましたね、B サイドレベルから。ゲームまだ出てないやんって思ったけど。 となんだろう。まあなんか、ネタバレというか、まああんまり見たいって思ってたわけじゃないけど、ライズの妖怪系モンスターはアッシュが出るみたいで、ちょっとそれは楽しみですね。でもなんかツイッター見てるとネタバレ結構知らない間にタイムラインを流れてくるからあれ、なんかアッシュが出るのは分かったアッシュとかも見たいなとは思ってますけど、ちょっと見ると見たでね、ゲームが出た時になんか感動が違うんだよね。だからスカーレットとバイオレットもポケモン出るみたいですけど、あの3匹の進化系はまだ見たくないよ後から見れるようになるから、まあそういう意味じゃ出た時にやらないっていうのもあるのかな。それか出た直後にSNS を完全に拒否してゲームだけやって、それで終わった後に復帰する。まあネタバレはね、なんて言うんだろう、ネタバレっていうか逆にゲームが出る前にいろいろ知ってるとワクワクするっていう方もいると思うので、そんな公式のサイトとかが出してる情報は別に特にまあ見なければなんとかなるだろうなって思うけど。Hello Zero Drawing tips for hair from different angles? That depends on the haircut. Oh yeah, I did notice that you were posting on Twitter about how you were having a hard time with hair. Yeah, depends on the hair. The haircut do be weird.髪の毛の描き方なんだろう、どんな髪の毛かな。久しぶりの絵描きですね。確かに。むむ。最後のお絵かきっていつ？くーちゃんのやつ？その後だっけ？あれ？さっき配信始める前に書いたやつっていつやったんだっけ？くーちゃんの前かな。It's like the slicked back kind of hair. Like that, okay, slicked back, like the kind of hair that someone wears when they're in like a pinstripe suit. Mumu. Ah, そっか。なるほど。そういうことですね。まあ、あれもね、あんまり、まあ今月末までは結構不定期配信だからね。まあ、いつも不定期ですけどね。休止にする。死なないでください。slicked back hair。わしは何を考えてこれ書いたの？It's like tying your hair from without a hair tie. ちょっと待って、書いてみよう。オールバックってこと？ Hair up without a tie? Using hair gel and stuff on smaller hair rather than longer hair. こんな感じ？Like this? I mean, this is the side, but then also depends on like, so, some people, so like their hairline is like straight, so then hair grows like this, but then some people's is more like this, where there's like a peak. So like if it's dipped, then like this goes like a little bit slanted. P さんいらっしゃい。今特に何も考えてるわけではないんですけど、ちょっとねサンブレイクの話してましたよ。まあ、30日にサンブレイクモンハンライズの出るのと、まあ、あとは今オールバックの紙の書き方みたいな書き方？私あんまりオールバック書かないからね。You'll think about it some more. Okay. Well, I hope this helps. I don't know. Did you want me to do like a front and back or something too? Okay, that's good. Yeah, I don't really draw this haircut that much, so I have no idea. Oh yeah, I mean, that makes sense, and then you'll probably figure it out. Because you already work with 3D. I can if I want.オールバックの髪型ってしたことありますか？俺あんましたことないからわからんよ。わからんけどこんな感じなんじゃないかなと思ってるだけだから。 The haircut isn't set in stone, but the style of haircut gives that old mature feeling, especially due to the way your avatar's jaw is. Okay. You have yet to find any other style that gives off the same vibe. Oh, I see. Yeah, and then haircut does make a really big difference in like just general image? I don't know. Nade nade arigatou gozaimasu. Nade nadeね、これ時間セットしてないからね、そのまんま乗っけちゃってて忘れるんだよね。後ろからオールバックのイメージってなんだろう。まあなんかYour other option is being bald. I guess that's also not that bad, right?そう、ずっと頭なでなでなってる。まあいつでも止められるので、ね、止めてもいいんですけど、止める止めよう。永遠になでなでなる前に止めるよ。止めなくていいんですかなでなで永久になでなでですかこれForever head pats. You might have to break your norms and try doing some new art styles since you've noticed you stick to the same thin line strokes. It's a really unhealthy habit. Head pads are out of stock. Did I do a thing for head pads? Oh, I think it's because I set it to like a specific time at one point. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with using, working on the style that you already have. But then if you don't like it, then that makes sense to try a new thing. Mohyo. Mohyo. You don't hate it, but for the specific character, you don't think it's gonna work out too well. Your favorite style is the world ends with you style. Oh, okay. So I forgot who the artist is. Isn't that the same? I thought the art for that was done by the same person as Kingdom Hearts. Or am I wrong? I could be wrong. At least I thought that was, yeah, I thought that was Nomura Tetsuya. Yeah, I don't know. I thought. But it's like the very edgy, angly, everything looks like it's like gonna poke your eyes. そう。Oh, okay. Sounds good. Morning. Good morning, Zero.そういえばこのワシャワシャは一体いつまで続くんだろう。永遠に続くのかな。キングダムハッツとかのデザイナーさんね。野村哲也さんかな。素晴らしきこの世界ってゲーム結構好きだったんですよね。またなでなで増えちゃった。でも手がね、一つしか今用意してないからね、これで我慢してもらえますかね。撫でられすぎて髪が。大丈夫、俺は鬼で、鬼の髪は強いから大丈夫。大丈夫。 これ何これなんだろう肉とわたあめそう野村哲也とか考えててキングダムハーツとか持ってたらなんかキーブレードとか思い出したからこういうこれどうですか食いしん坊Hello Silas Oh yeah the head pats it's some person's hand I was talking to Zero who was talking about how they like Nomura Tetsuya's art style and then I thought of Kingdom Hearts and so I am I am holding weaponized food Hello, Jackie. Now you're gonna have like a list of translate bot silliness. お、クリスさん、来てくださってありがとうございます。おやすみなさい。結局俺の絵ってご飯が入ってたね。Hello Mercury, thank you. So Zero was saying that their art, the art that they really like is done by Tetsuya Nomura, who does The World Ends With You art. They also do a bunch of other stuff, including Kingdom Hearts. So I was like, Kingdom Hearts, me. おやすみなさい。むむむむむむ。ね、寝る前にむむってなんか怒ってるみたい。おやすみなさい。パシャ。あれですね、クリスさんのスクショが増える。俺のムムって顔が。どんどんなんか増えていく。サンブレイクやりたいね。So if I had keyblades, it'd be like food related.「こんなキーブレードやだ」I don't think my keyblades would work as weapons because you could just eat it. Skewer blades. One of them's cotton candy and the other one's like toasty meat. もふもふやで。そうだ、なでなで忘れてた。忘れてたA game you've been playing a lot has untranslated Spanish in it. One word you always heard was way. Way? Skewered. I'm key skewer blade wielding Ven. Skewer. Jackie, you never thought too much about the word until someone posted in a server that someone else is a waifu. Hoi. Slang for dumbass? You changed your server name to that? Why? It's also used like dude in some places. Oh. Violent baby? You mean the drawing that I'm doing? Cause Kingdom Hearts. Nomura Tetsuya's art style. Lots of leather, lots of belts. Sometimes just metal armor plates on random spots. Wings. Accessories. I see how it is. I see how it is, Max. Did you not like the series? I played all of them. I think 3 tired me out and then I was like done. I mean, I liked the series. I just kind of didn't care too much about how they did 3. Feet need to be 400% larger. These are pretty big. Actually, my hands are supposed to be way bigger, aren't they? My hands are supposed to be like twice as big as my face. Yeah, zippers. Oh yes, zippers. Where do I put zippers? Oh yeah, some of you don't know that I came back from a trip to Kyoto, and that was fun. But last stream I did, I guess you can watch it if you have time, or you don't have to watch it, you just need to. It's mostly me just talking, so you don't have to actually watch the, the images or whatever, because there isn't really anything other than me just being on screen. But I talk about all the food places that I went to. Oh yeah, I need zippers. I can have zippers on my hands for no reason. I talk about all the food places. I think I did for the most part, but I did realize afterwards that I probably should do another stream but with photos, since I did take photos of all the foods that I had. It would have been just easier. Well, it would be nice if I learned how to describe things in a more image, like in a rich way, I guess, because I have a hard time describing things. in a descriptive way that would illustrate something for other people. So I felt like a lot of the last stream was me talking about places and being like, this was a type of food that was really delicious, but then you would have to probably look it up, or you would have to know what I'm talking about to some extent. And I know some Japanese foods aren't necessarily like well known outside of Japan. But then also I went to a river otter cafe. It's not really a cafe, you just go in and then you sit down and then you get to watch river otters in a room and then you get to feed them. P さん、なでなでありがとうございます。そう、カワウソカフェ行ったよ。カワウソカフェに行ってきましたよ。京都行ってる間に。で、何があったかっていうと、まあ、カワウソがいた。Baby Ren gets in a fight with river otters. I don't know, they just seemed like they were hungry all the time. Maybe... Yeah, so they would just kind of run around us. It's not really like a big space. So one of the things I thought was maybe that they wouldn't get enough exercise or stimulation, just because, you know, they're not really pet animals, but for some reason in Japan you can have them as pets. I mean that they're not like domesticated, so they're not like dogs or cats, right? But yeah, I got to pet them. I got to give food to them. It's kind of fun because when they eat, they use their front paws, kind of like how humans eat with their hands, but then they, for some reason, they have like a need to raise their head up and eat, and maybe it's just like it helps them eat because usually they're on their backs in water. So every time they would eat, they would like raise their heads up, so it almost looks like they're gonna eat upside down. So kawauso ne. Cafe, not a cafe for humans, but a cafe for the others, kind of. Yeah, in a way, I almost seemed like you know, the people going in and out of those rooms might be actually kind of like the stimulus for those babies. Although apparently some of them get really scared quite easily, so you weren't supposed to like sit up really quickly because they would be confused and scared about your movements. Yeah, these are river otters, so they're different from sea otters, but they have similar behavior. So カワウソなんかかわいいんですけど、俺のね勝手な感想はなんかお部屋、まあそこのお部屋はね見えるところだけっていうのがあるかもしれないけど、ちょっと小さいかなって思って。でもなんか日本ってカワウソペットとして飼えるんだねって思いました。飼おうと思ったこともないし、ちゃんとお世話できないとカワウソにカワウソだからカワウソだから。そう、カワウソね。飼えるの知らんし、まあ飼うつもりはないからね。でもなんか一回だけやってみてもいいかもしれないって思って、それで途中で歩いてたらなんかカワウソと遊べますって書いてあったから入ってみました。うん、かわいい。うん、だだこねたりするよ。ちゃんとじゃないけどなんか甘えたりするから超かわいい。So they were cute. I got to see 5 of them because they would get kind of tired after a bit. So there were like 2 that were twins and then 2 that were a pair and then 1 that was just kind of on their own. But yeah, it's interesting that they can be pets in Japan. I wouldn't recommend it just because they're not really domesticated, but I can see why people would want them as pets. They are very curious and very I think depending on the person they are very affectionate, but they also do have different personalities, so all 5 of them kind of had different things that they like and different things that they didn't. Speaking of strange animals that I guess you can get in Japan as pets. So I went to a pet store just to see what it's like, because if I were to get a pet, I would like to adopt from like a shelter or maybe someone who's like looking for foster homes or something. But then I did want to see what kind of animals you can find in a pet store, and then I found a meerkat. And I was confused. 日本のペットショップにね、まあ自分あんまりペットとかそういうところで飼うつもりもないし、まあ、ペットもし迎えるとしたら、多分ね、お家探してるにゃんこさんとかワンコさんとか結構いっぱいいるのでね、そういうなんか引き取り先が必要なワンちゃんとかにゃんちゃんとかのだったらまあ考えてもいいかなとは思ったんですけど、ペットショップに行ってなんかちょっと見てるのはやっぱり可愛いから見たらね、ミーアキャットがいたよ。ミーアキャットだよ。Why would I buy it? Like a meerkat. Like the ones that live in packs and in the savannah. And I was like, how? Where? Why? あれ、ミーアキャットって集団動物じゃないの？あれって大丈夫なの？一匹だけなんか。わからんけど。まあなんか普通にペットショップ行ったらミーアキャット行ってびっくりした。びっくりしました。なんか、まあなんかいい里親が見つかるといいなとは思いましたけど、日本ってなんかいろんな動物意外とペットになっちゃうの？知らんかった。なでなでありがとうございます。こんな感じでジッパーパンツにあるよ。Here, I added zipper pants. I made my hands really big. They're not, I guess they could be bigger. You were trying to look up words in Ibaraki-ben so you can see the translate bot say, please help me, or whatever it translated into. You can't find it online at the moment. When was that? Was that last month? I think it was last month. Last month. Yeah, I think I was talking a little bit about dialects and how there are specifically different words for different dialects sometimes, that it's all Japanese, but then people in Japan might not understand each other just because of the difference in use of words, or like how it's pronounced or how it's said, or the word itself is completely different. At least I know how to say how are you in Nakutita. I think. Kanuping? Kanuping? That has nothing to do with Ibaraki-ben though. I don't remember what was said. I don't really remember what exactly was the word that translate bot was getting all excited over. Yeah, it was funny because it didn't, the word that it was trying to say wasn't that, I didn't think it was that heavy. It was just like a sorry, but in Ibaraki-ben, I forgot. 上手に焼けました。When am I gonna do the Elden Ring streams this month? Next weekend? No. Next weekend, maybe? 26? It might be... Maybe I'll do one next week around the 20th, and then once on the 26th if I just need to ask the guest about the second one. It might be in July at this point because I didn't realize my schedule was pretty packed. Oh yeah, I had yakiniku today, which is this barbecue. Barbecue is good, but my lesson... So I went during my Kyoto trip once, and this was with one other person. I let them order for both of us, which was fine. This was... like, you know, it was a nice time. It's just that it was a little too much for me. And then I finished off whatever was needed to be finished off. But then it was so much food that I woke up at night and I couldn't really sleep because my stomach was really upset. So I decided that if I'm gonna eat barbecue, I'm not gonna fully extend my stomach, if that makes sense. Because otherwise I'm probably gonna not like eating it anymore. Because last time I ate, I really felt ill, and I was like, I don't like this anymore, so. But now I know. And then this time I made sure not to eat more than what I can put in my stomach, and then it was just enough food. Oh, thank you, Mercury, for the myo and the goku goku. Myo! Okay. Jackie, you had a good friend by the name of Amir. You think they were non-binary? They didn't explicitly say it, but they changed their pronoun to they, them on Facebook, and they also had an account with like a gender-neutral name. You might have asked them if they were, but they said they weren't sure, and you think it's because of them that you started to ask yourself if you're non-binary as well. Oh, I see, I see. Yeah, when it's I think it helps when there's someone around you who is open to talking about stuff like that, because I don't think I had people around me when I was kind of going through like what my gender identity is or whatever, how I feel, what I think. I don't know. It's I mean, you know, as a yokai, I can shapeshift and all that too, but I like the body I was born with. Although I did consider changing it at one point, but then I think I had other things that didn't make sense to me to do that, so I didn't. Your little play on a meerkat reminded you of them. I see. I was wondering if that's like a name of someone. Oh yeah, it was kind of interesting. I did meet someone who had a different opinion about, you know, gender and stuff. I think it's fine if they're not gonna, you know, force it on the people, but it wasn't like a very welcoming kind of idea that they had. It was just kind of like, you're born as you are and that's like it or something, and I was like, okay. I mean, whatever that means, I guess. This is a more recent thought that I've been having. But you know how there are always going to be people who think differently from you just because everyone has a different perspective. So even if you think you know, someone you get along with really well, they might have different opinions about something that's like maybe like a core value, maybe not. But then when you meet someone who's different from you, it helps you kind of rethink what it is to be yourself. At least that's how I feel more recently. And then also, you know, the other thing is that if you have someone else that's different from you, right, it does like, at least like if it bothers me, I think if it bothers me enough, then maybe that just means it makes for a good story. But then I kind of look at things from like, you know, if I were to write a manga and stuff sometimes, so then, you know, when I meet people, I'm like, okay, this person has these traits that I find nice, and then these not so nice. But that's just my perspective, right? That doesn't mean that they're bad or that they're wrong or anything like that. But then if I don't get along with them, that's okay too. And then I can write about that maybe. And then this reminds me of like sometimes there are days when I feel like complaining about really small things. And then it's like, why is there anything to complain about? And it's almost like complaining can sometimes be I don't really like this term, but I guess maybe like a blessing. It's kind of a weird way to say that. I don't know what like a better word for it in English would be. I just feel like it's like, okay, you have another person who's different from you, right? But then if everyone was exactly the same as you, you don't have anything to talk about. You'd just be done. So then sometimes when I hear other people who, you know, may have had some sort of experience that they are not happy about or whatever, I also think like, you know, it's kind of interesting and, you know, hear about that from them because that's their perspective and maybe I don't agree or, you know, I might not feel the same way. More recently, I feel like a lot of the times it's just, if anything happens between two people, it's usually a misunderstanding or some error in, you know, their timeline together, I guess. So then I don't really know if I would get upset with some things. But that's just the thought. Oh, and then I also know someone who I talk to about, you know, like yokai, not yokai stuff, I guess, more like Shinto related ideas. I've talked to this one person about them and then how it's helped me in a way where I can kind of appreciate a lot of things. And of course, like, you don't have to have, you know, any sort of spiritual ideas or like religious myths or anything like that backing up how you feel about the world. I mean, you can always just say, you know, I don't really care about those things, and that's fine too. So this person that I was talking to is kind of like that, where their perspective is very much kind of separate from that kind of world. So I believe they are more interested in like more of like a scientific approach to everything, and that's completely fine. So I was talking to them about my experience and how, you know, I've had these people in my life make me feel good about myself because they would, you know, give me input, and then of course it's from their perspective, so I can do with or without what they're saying, of course, but a lot of the times they've been very positive for me, and then it's like related to the way that they see the world, and that's related to Shinto ideas. So, you know, talking about that, but then this person was like, well, yeah, that's great and all, but can't you just like say those things without any of that like spiritual stuff? Like, the more you put spiritual stuff into it, it just sounds like, you know, like wishy-washy ideas or something. I don't know if that's correct. I don't know what the English term would be. But that's kind of like what their response was. And then I was like, you know, that's just like their perspective, so I can't really say that that's like any good or bad, right? I guess how I felt afterwards was that it just seemed like they didn't really care for what I was talking about, so I was like, did you wanna talk? I mean, you know, I did talk about all the stuff that I've had happen to me and all that, but if it's like, if it boils down to, oh, but like, isn't that all just kind of like babbling and not very, like, you could just get that from just like anyone, and if that's how they feel about that, then can't change anything. So it was just that kind of moment where I was like, yeah, I guess it made me wonder if they have fun. 'Cause it wasn't like they were invalidating my experience, but it was also not very like I don't know. It wasn't very connecting. It didn't feel like there was any connection even though we were talking. I have an amazing memory. You would have forgotten about all that the moment you turned around. You know, honestly, that's not a bad thing. That's probably not a bad thing. Because sometimes I remember like very small things that people have said to me that aren't necessarily really nice things. Then I'm just like, why does that bother me so much? It's like a really small speck in time. Jackie, half the time you forget what you're told the moment you go do that thing. Zero, you do that all the time, both at work and at home? It's your normal state. That's fine. I mean, honestly, I don't think you need to remember, you know. Like, I guess it stuck out to me just because for a while, a lot of the people that I know may have been, you know, a lot more positive, I guess, about what's happening or like whatever I talk about. And I think that's already kind of something I need, you know, not I need, but I want to be grateful for, and I feel like maybe I could probably work on that a little bit more. I mean, in that sense, it was like a good experience because I met someone who's just kind of like, so. It's like, okay, that's great for you, but like, what about it, you know? I lost you there. You're confused about that part. Which part? The last part about how you were surrounded by positive people and then you met someone that was like so... Oh, so what I was trying to say is like, you know, so I was talking to this person, you know, I guess maybe I didn't realize I was expecting some sort of connection from like whatever I was talking about. Or like maybe I thought maybe they would have some sort of like, you know, whatever from their perspective to share other than just like, you know, isn't that all just kind of like things that people can say? Like it doesn't have to come from people who are close to you or whatever. It can just be like positive, affirming sentences that you read on, you know, in books or in whatever. But then I guess it's also nice that they weren't just like open about it, because then it made me think about stuff. Does that make sense? I don't know. Like that. I mean, you know, it's different from like a part of me that was like, oh, I kind of wanted to know if, you know, there's something I can relate to with this person, because honestly I don't really know if I have too much, and it seems like when I do talk to them, like the very like the times of interaction are kind of like few and far between, so I don't really get to talk to them that often. Usually they're too busy, and honestly I don't even know if they like me, you know, and that's fine. If they don't like me, they could probably like say that. But yeah, so I thought, you know, maybe there's like a topic I could talk about that's new but also kind of close to my heart in a way, and then connect in that way. And they were like, what about it? You know? So I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's not what I had hoped, but that's just like, I wouldn't have known if I hadn't done that anyway. I can talk about how handsome and charming you are. I'm lost, Max. Where does that fit into? Yeah, so I guess my opinion of that interaction afterwards was like, I didn't really know what to say other than like, you know, well, everyone has different perspectives, and sometimes the same things can be said by the different people and it feels different to each person. So you know, I understand that the things that these people in my life are telling me are things that I could have probably found outside of them, you know, like I guess that's not the point. So I got really confused afterwards. I was like, oh, then what was, I guess then I did mention that I was like, what did you want to talk about then? Because I did just keep going and, you know, tried to answer the questions you had for me, but there's only so much you can talk about when it's not very like you know, if it's like feelings and stuff, what are you supposed to do? I can't prove them. You don't know, but it always pays to promote yourself. I mean, I guess. I feel like some people don't like that in their channel, so I guess all I have to say is just be careful where you are at. I mean, I just know like some streamers are not very happy when like other streamers come into their chat and talk about themselves. I guess I don't really know. Zero, you think it's more so about whether they want to form a connection or not? Some people like you are antisocial, so you have a habit of giving simple answers, which ends up making it so the other person can't really continue the conversation. There has to be effort from both sides. Yeah, you know, I guess that's the thing, is like it doesn't seem like they really care to connect with me anyway, and I like the vibes I get from this person don't seem to be very positive, and I feel like they probably have something against me, and that's fine, but it's also just like it's very strange. And then I guess for some reason when I tried to talk to them like outside of stuff, like that was probably the longest I've ever been able to talk in a while with them. Maybe I should have been the one to ask questions. It was very different. It depends on what kind of person they are. Usually people don't judge till they get to know others, but prejudice is a thing. Yeah, I mean, I guess I have an idea of if it's true, and if it is true that my thoughts happen to be true, which, you know, they may not be just because I'm not the other person. I have a feeling that there is something that they could probably have against me without, like, you know, having told me or talked to me about it, or, you know, all that stuff. At the same time, I can't do anything if they don't really want to talk. And you know, like, when okay, this is just me, but then sometimes when people aren't necessarily happy with themselves, it's hard for them to show happiness towards others, and that's, like, fine. And then there's also the times when someone doesn't necessarily like you and they just don't tell you, but then they can't because reasons, and then, you know, it's not really like they say it, but then you can kind of feel it in what they say. Yeah, I usually don't try to, like, focus on stuff like that. It was just kind of like something that made me think. Also, the other thing is, like, that I thought I thought about afterwards was, I was like, I wonder if they're having fun. You're on your PC. Oh wait, Zero, does that mean you're finished with all those modeling projects that you had? No. That's okay. You're focusing on making a reference sheet and a PNG avatar for yourself. Oh, I see. Oh, the one that you were saying, that's like that specific haircut. Yeah. It seems like that would be like a relatively easier haircut to model in 3D. You can show me the whip that you had and why you don't like it. Yeah, you can send it to me in DMs or something if you want. I mean, I don't know if, like, maybe I can help? I don't know. およ。Hello. Oh, hello, voices. Welcome to my art stream. Hello, hello. Pulu Pulu, hello. Hello, Talmuin, hello. Hello, Rakutuni, hello. Birdmoss, hello. Hello, Pumpino, hello. Thank you for the follow. Yahoo. Konbanwa. Hello, welcome. Welcome, Raiders. Thank you for joining me. I am not doing anything serious. So, one of the people in chat, 0 to be exact, was talking about their favorite artist or art style by Nomura Tetsuya, who has done Kingdom Hearts and what was it? The World Ends With You, right? Yes. So I am drawing myself as a skewer blade wielder. Oh, okay. Voices was also playing art. What did you work on today? How many zippers and belts did you add? Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! I think my iPad decided to die. Oh no! It auto saves, so it's fine. But oh no, I was hoping I would still be working on this. Wait, well, let me see what is going on. Let me just make sure this. It might have just crashed. Let's see. I think it just crashed, so I might not be able to continue. Sad. Well, I guess that's what happens. Sometimes it happens, it's fine. Anyway, well, if I'm not gonna draw, I guess I can still chat. Yeah, so I was trying to draw myself as, you know, yeah, the skewer blade wielder. Because I like food, and that was what I was thinking about. I went to a trip on by myself to Kyoto, and I had a lot of fun. There were lots of food to be eaten. I pretty much just went around to places that I was interested in. I ate a lot of foods. Yes, the skewer blade. Thank you, Mimic, for the myo and the goku goku. And the head pets. Wait, I'll just be in my big form because I don't need to be small for right now. Okay. Well, anyway, hello. Sorry, my art stream has come to a conclusion. Well, it seems like my iPad has crashed and it's like stuck. There's the little icon, you know, the wheel. It's just stuck. There's like a wheel in the middle and I don't know what to do about it. I just hope that it's not broken, because then I guess all of my data might be gone. We'll see, because it looks like it's restarting, so maybe I can continue in a bit. Maybe. Yeah, speaking of art, the one behind me is by Birdmoss. Wait, Ninit's not why? I need to go to sleep now? Hello, Debiru, welcome. Okay, Zero, you sent the whip on Discord. Okay, I can just check. Yeah, this is a good time for me to just stretch. Oh yes, well, some of you may know from last stream, but I am going to be singing at a live concert this weekend, so that's exciting. It'll be my first time singing in front of well, actually some people are gonna be watching me in 3D form. So that's a little nerve-wracking, I guess. So that's happening, and then I'm gonna have my voice training lesson for the week tomorrow. So yeah, I'm excited. But also I just hope I don't, you know, let my nerves take over and then hit all the wrong notes, because that's what I'm worried about. Yeah, it's only gonna be one song, so it shouldn't be that bad. It's just like 4 minutes of agony. And then it's gonna be recorded. It's gonna be with a live band. Thank you Birdmoss, thank you Mercury. Thank you Zero. Yeah, it's gonna be recorded, so eventually I will post it. I think if I can, I'll probably post it on Twitch and YouTube. Well, I'm gonna check if I did okay afterwards, right? And then if it sounds good enough, I'll post it. If it doesn't, I won't. But I am a little worried about it, just because you know how like you're your worst critic. Yeah, so it is gonna be. It's apparently like a relatively small space. Okay, I will let my teacher decide. They can tell me all the things that I got wrong and all the things that I got right. Yeah, it's gonna be like a live performance. I'm not sure what it's gonna sound like. I just know that I need to sing loud enough so that it can be heard over like drums and stuff. So that's like the thing that I need to work on, is just singing loud enough. So the one thing that I hope I can get done before the concert. So the concert's gonna be this Saturday. During the day, there is a live streaming URL. The only thing is I can't post it because it's really only for the people who are taking voice training lessons at that school, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm not allowed to just share it. And also, like, you know, there are some people who probably are gonna show up and they probably don't want to be seen by outsiders, if that makes sense. I mean, everyone's like practicing. Some of them are professional singers who have written songs before and, you know, they're still taking lessons, or maybe they're just coming in for the concert, and then other people like me are just gonna be, you know, students who've been singing for a bit, and then this is gonna be like a little bit of chance to shine or whatever. So that's exciting. Yes. But yeah, so I believe the video, there's gonna be like a video, I guess. So that's the thing, is I probably will also not, it won't really do me any good if I share the link and then, you know, you guys see me in human form. Yeah, I know some of you are probably okay with it, but not everyone is, so it's like I need to prep it before I can post it on YouTube or whatever. Does that make sense? Also, it seems like my iPad is back. I just hope it's not gonna freak out again. It does live. It is living. I think it's alive. That's good. Okay, let's see. Okay, it's back. Yay! Yay! Also, I forgot Mercury. I forgot I need to stretch, and then I need to drink something. But yes, it is back. It's fine. I did not think that it would just crash like that. It hasn't really done that in a while. Well, you know, good thing it wasn't like, you know, a crash to end my iPad, because that would have been very sad. Yes, thank you. And yeah, but here is confused me with my skewer blades. Yeah, I still need to figure out when to do an ASMR stream, because there was a community challenge that was 101% completed. And also the Elden Ring streams. I did mention earlier that maybe I'll do my Elden Ring streams maybe on the 20th and then the 26th, maybe. But the second one I need to check in with someone, because I actually played multiplayer with someone, and I was just hoping that they would be able to be around for the stream so they can also, you know, comment about what they were thinking while they were playing. Keyblade warrior. You were saving meme pictures? Wait, which part did you miss? You came back to keyboard warriors. Keyboard warriors. Who needs a keyboard when you have skewers? Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna like. Do I fight with these? Do I bonk people with them? Yeah, I guess I did make them pointy. I was thinking about hearts, so use the like fencing swords and you eat. Eat while you fight. Never run out of stamina, right? Like in Breath of the Wild with Link and just keep eating while going up that hill or climbing up a mountain. You know, just pause and eat like curry or something. You'll be fine. Yeah, and then before that I was talking about interacting with someone who probably does not want to necessarily interact with me as much as I do with them, if that makes sense. And that was just kind of a thought. It's a weird hill. Hmm? I probably need more chains dangling from my skewers. If it's during stream times, you tend to be like a normal viewer. If it's something like Twitter Spaces, why are you making them if you don't want to interact with others? If it's in real life, then why are you in my house if you don't want to interact with me? Right. Okay. いってらっしゃい. Although maybe it was just like Also that they didn't really care for the subject that I brought up. It's also possible. I mean, I could say all I want, and I don't know the other person's thoughts, so I wouldn't know if I'm correct or not, so that's the thing. I don't know if I'm correct in thinking that they're not very fond of me. I don't know if that's true that they didn't care about the subject. I don't know if maybe they weren't necessarily having a fun time. Because sometimes if you're not having fun, you don't necessarily want to talk, even if there are people around to talk to. Oh, someone made a website. It's only in Japanese, so that's the only thing, but it has a bunch of games, and then details about if it's okay to use during streams, and then also any rights related things, like, you know, if it's okay to be played on stream, is it okay to play if you're monetized? Because sometimes like From Software doesn't really like. Oh no! It did it again! It did it again! Okay. I'm not allowed to draw this time, I guess. Okay, that's fine. Fine. Yeah, I don't think my iPad is having a good time now. Too bad. Is this bright enough? Is it too bright? Yeah, I guess my iPad is not having fun. It's okay. I will finish my silly drawing another time. Oh yeah, Bird Moz, have you been working on your own projects? I know you were doing like more mecha stuff, because those are really cool. And I'm not very good at drawing mecha, so I'm just like, I don't know what that is. I don't know how to draw straight lines. What are straight lines? Join the robot side. You know, it would be cool to be able to draw robots, honestly. Unfortunately, I do not. I don't have practice. That's the only thing. It's not like I can't draw. Probably. It's more like I haven't really drawn anything, so I wouldn't be able to be that good immediately. I would have to do a lot more practice. Like a Ven when. Oh yeah, I did do like a sketch of my more furry form, but if it were mecha. But it has like a lot more organic shapes. So it wasn't as it's not like a super blocky like it's not like Gundam-y, if that makes sense. Ultimate yokai bot. What would that look like? Oh yeah, so in Kyoto there's a street. It's Ichijo, and Kyoto has numbered streets. Well, not all of them are, but some of them have numbers. And Ichijo is one of them. And that there's like one area that's called Yokai Street. And then what that means is there's like a little yokai museum, which is really cute. It's kind of like you go, and then in the front area there's this, you know, those photo op things, like there's like a big cardboard that's painted and then there's like a hole for your face. There's one of those, but it's like yokai related. And then you go up the stairs of this like very tiny building, and then there's like photographs of the Hyakiyagyo, which is the night procession of 100 demons. Or Oni, I guess. It's weird saying demons for Oni, because Oni and demons are kind of different. But you know, I get why demons is used. Yeah, it's also why it's weird for me to see like Kimetsu no Yaiba translated into Demon Slayer. I'm like, demons? Jackie, you're gonna take a nap so you're not miserably tired at work. Okay, that sounds good. I hope you sleep. I hope you get a good nap and then you wake up and then you're fresh to go. Yes. So there is a yokai street there. Actually, there's also a place. There's this one person who does a store related to yokai also, and they're not in the same area. I asked them. I got to meet the shop owner. And I talked about that. I was like, so how come there's yokai street up north, but then you're down more south? And it seems like they're not very fond of the way they do things in the yokai street area. I'm not really sure what it is, but you know, that's their business. But that was kind of interesting. So if you go to yokai street, unfortunately when I went, I didn't really get to see like the stores because they weren't open. I think I don't remember if it was that they weren't open just because it was like after or before their opening hours, or if it was like their days off. But then there's one big building in this like four-way street corner, and then if you look into the windows, there's like a fox, and then Did I see a tengu? But yeah, it's like dark interior with like yokai facing the windows, so you get to see some yokai from the windows if you're just like wandering around. And then there's like little statues of yokai. Yeah, it's probably a lot more spookier if you go at night. I only went during the day, but also I am a yokai, so like what do I have to be worried about? I'm like, oh, okay. You know, that's cute. But yeah, the street has little posters saying it's the yokai street. There's also little statues of like kappa, which are the river yokai. Oh, and then what was fun is that there's a shrine that's like right next to the street. And it's a shrine that's related to onmyoji, and onmyoji in Japanese history are people who use shikigami to fight yokai, I guess. Akuryo, right? Akuryo is like evil spirits, so I guess they're not necessarily yokai. But yeah, these are like there's a shrine specifically related to that history. And I was told that it's where like old shikigami are kept at. And shikigami are basically, I guess, familiars are the closest things that I can think of. But yeah, so they would use creatures to summon and then basically help them fight evil spirits, and that is a thing that certain people used to do in Japan. So yeah, it's funny that it's like really close by to the yokai street to me. Oh, and then so the one person that owns this yokai store that is not in the yokai street but elsewhere. It's like completely away from a lot of different stores, so it was kind of interesting. It was just like next to a really big road, but it was kind of like in an area with like industry related buildings, so it wasn't really like you could go in and shop anywhere else. But yeah, it's like a store filled with old used objects. But the person working there used to make manga, I believe. I don't know if they still do. They do still do art though. And then I got to chat with them about what they like about yokai, like what they think about yokai and stuff like that. I like the way that they put it, because a lot of yokai, well, you know, I don't know about the human world. The human world makes me think like yokai are bad things, right? But then in Utsuyo, where I'm from, yokai, you know, help and like live next to humans, so we're not that bad. But anyway, so this person was saying that a lot of human stories of yokai tend to be for little children. So for example, just part of the world that's alright? Sorry, I got confused. Yeah, yokai are not bad or good, just part of the world. Yeah. I mean, I guess there are... It's not really bad. It's more like... kind of overcome by negativity, if that makes more sense. Oh, okay. I think I get what you meant. But yeah, where was I? What was I thinking about? So... Right, so for example, what they were talking about, so like a lot of yokai stories, they're kind of like passed down from parents to children. For example, don't go out to that river because there's a kappa that might take you and drag you away. Right? That's a pretty common yokai story. There are similar things like that where it's like, oh, don't cry at night. Like a big Oni's gonna come eat you. There's also stories like, if you hear wheels in the middle of the night, don't go outside because you're gonna be killed. Welcome back. Okaeri nasai. So I'm talking about yokai stories in the human world and how they are passed down from parents to children. Was that the first thing you came back to? So there is a yokai, if you hear wheels in the night, don't go outside. Yes. So why do you think that is? This is an old tale that human parents would tell human children at night, right? You know, before cars, you had either people or horses. It's because people couldn't afford wheels. Oh man, that's like a completely different story then. Well, okay, so the reason is because I mean, okay, I guess you're not wrong, but yeah. That has nothing to do with yokai though. Unless you're telling me that yokai are hoarding riches or something, and that is like what you're trying to say. But yeah, so don't go outside. If you hear wheels at night, don't go outside. Why? Because those wheels at night, this is like before there were lights at night. Why are there people taking wheeled carts at night? Because they're doing things that you're not supposed to be doing. like stealing and stuff. Maybe stealing, maybe eloping, maybe running away. And you know, if it's like, if a kid goes out and gets seen by someone who's like running away because they're doing bad deeds, then you know they're more likely than not going to be able to have a good time. So that's kind of like where some of these yokai stories come from, is to teach kids not to do things so that they won't be taken away or, you know, killed or whatever. Yeah, and that was like fun to hear from a human. You wanna know where some of the weirder ones come from? Do you have like a specific example? Oh, I didn't get to see it yet. Just a second. Let me open the Discord because I usually turn it off for streams. You wanna? Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you were saying. Zero, I get what you mean. I don't know. I guess I get what you mean, but also yeah, it kind of depends. It probably depends on like how you render it, honestly, because you may be able to get it to not look like the meme. The one that tugs at your sleeve, and if you turn around and see it, you gotta feed it your sleeve. I mean, sometimes yokai just don't want to be seen, and then if they do, they kind of want you to make sure that you don't get away with you know, having perceived them. But yeah, sometimes, yeah, not sometimes. Sometimes. Okay, let me change what I was gonna say. Sometimes there are stories about yokai, and they're not necessarily stemming from like, you know, stories that parents tell their kids so that their kids can stay safe. Sometimes it's like, you know, people have done very, very terrible acts, so then they become oni. It went something like that. It's been a bit. Then why did they tug at your sleeve? Well, I guess if you gotta give it your sleeve, maybe it's like, it could be worse. Like, you perceived it, so as a peace offering, I guess maybe they like your sleeve, but then they weren't necessarily trying to be perceived. Persleeved. So then you give them your sleeve, so they let you go. You know, it could also be from something like how sleeves could have gotten caught in things, and then if it got caught, like, you can, you know, sometimes it can be dangerous when you have clothes on that are very long and then they get caught in things, right? Zero, you were drunk and last night this poor little orphan kid tugged to your sleeve, but they wanted food, but you didn't have any, so they bit your hand and ate your sleeve. I'm like, listen to yokai. Yeah, I mean, that's possible. That might be a thing, right? Because then there's also the question of, you know, when does a yokai become, or like when does a human become yokai, and then when does a yokai become kami, or why do some kami relate to yokai and stuff like that. Perceived. Yeah, like headphones. Depends on how lazy they are. You're 99% convinced the lazy yokais are the first that become kami. Yeah, so Japanese myths are interesting if you've ever tried reading anything. I don't know if they're translated. Well, they are translated, I think. Like, the Kojiki is translated into English, so if you can find that, I would love to hear what you think about it, because the whole thing is basically kind of like a mix of history and like myths. So half of it has is related to the emperors in Japan, and half of it is like more of like a, here are these kami and they existed, and then they made Japan and all that. Think about the requirements for becoming a god. If you're busy being an evil spirit all the time, you won't ever get the chance to become a god. Oh, it's funny. Worship the natto koso. Oh man. You know, it's interesting. So one yokai, well, a whole branch, or I guess an umbrella term for a type of yokai that comes from, well, for example, you know, humans and, you know, other beings take care of their belongings, right? And then maybe that belonging is passed down to someone else, or someone else that takes care of it, and it just keeps going. But then one day that belonging isn't taken care of anymore as it used to be, then that becomes a tsukumogami. And it's interesting because their name has kami in it, but then they're considered like evil spirits because they feel they have like bad feelings after being taken care of for so long, and then suddenly being given up, or, you know, put in trash or whatever. Although I guess I feel like it makes sense for them to become the opposite, you know, because they're taken care of, that they would be more like benevolent spirits, but that's just me. Although I don't really know a lot of evil spirits. I mean, those also, you know, that I think those are also, it makes sense as stories to pass down to your children in a way, because it's like well, okay, originally, right, people didn't have as many things as like more contemporary humans do, I think. Zero, you're a godly spirit if that counts. Oh yeah, so this is the other thing. Well, I don't know how many people like Shinto or are interested in it, but it's the idea that everything is basically like given a spirit that is a part of kami. So it's kind of interesting, like things around you have kami in it, you, yourself, and then everyone else. So it's like an idea of how everything is important. I don't know if important is the right word. I don't know what word is correct, because I don't think important makes sense. Lesson learned, only mildly take care of stuff. Don't cherish your things too much. Some of them might turn into Tsukumogami. You agree with it, but you don't at the same time, because if it was true, then there's so many certain types of dolls out there that would become succubi or incubi. Oh boy. I get what you mean, and I don't know if I don't know how I feel about how I know what you mean. Oh man, I know what you mean, and I feel weird about knowing what you mean. Body pillows alone are prime examples. You know, for the most part, I feel like those kinds of things don't really last too long, do they? Not that it's really about lasting a long time, I guess. Mercury would like to believe your clothes are very much dead. Toy Story theme, you got a friend in me, plays slowly. Man. Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course you, like, you know, the way that things are made, not everything is meant to last more than a bit. I mean, thinking about food, you eat food. Where does it go? It goes away. It goes back into the the nature, I guess. The nature around you, maybe. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. If you take care of it properly, then it does. I guess so. So it's actually interesting because there's like, I've been told. Oh, this is only because I do art and all that, right? I mean, anyone can do art and also like come up with characters of their own, or you know, whatever you want to call it, and stories and stuff too. Like if you write stories, then you're probably gonna make up some sort of being, right? Yeah, they can be in a way kind of like their own entity. Yeah, and this has nothing to do with yokai, but there's like, I've heard people talk about parallel worlds and then how there is that. I mean, okay, I don't know if is like a really big possibility, so it's not really something I can prove or say right or wrong or whatever. But it's like the idea that when you write a story, there's already a world that exists that has that story. Or like, so even if you think like, oh look, this is like an idea that comes only from myself, and this is a completely original story about like a completely different world that has nothing to do with this human world or whatever, right? Then and you write it, and then it may just possibly exist somewhere that we would never know. But that's also kind of like a fun idea to play with. I think there's actually a novel that was kind of like that, where, well, not similar to that, but it was like made into a film. I forgot the title, but it's about like a main character, and then for some reason one day he starts hearing like a narrator, and then it's like the narrator is actually writing his story. I was thinking about this, but I feel like it could be like taken as a horror story too, and not just like a fantasy, like a fun, interesting fantasy that could be like a horror film. It sounds like House of Leaves. Yeah, I don't remember the title at all. I just don't even remember. I just know that the main character is just doing whatever he does every day, goes to work and stuff, and then suddenly a narrator is just like saying the things he's doing. So it's kind of like Stanley Parable, kind of. But then the person that's narrating his story or his life is like in the same world as him. So then he ends up being able to find that person and then interact with them. Yeah, but I don't remember the name of the story. Yeah, I know the actor, but I don't remember the name of the film. Oh yeah, Stranger Than Fiction. I think that makes sense. That one. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. But yeah, going back to yokai, because I did derail a little bit, but a lot of yokai are kind of there because kids. A lot of yokai are there not to be scary, not to be terrible, not to actually harm, but to make sure that kids stay safe. A lot of them. Not all of them. Not all of them are like that. It's like reminds me that, you know, I do like reading manga and stuff, and I have read things like Demon Slayer, but then there's a part of me that gets sad because I'm like, why are these only bad? Oh yeah, so if you go to like places like Kyoto and stuff, there's like a ton of things related to the Demon Slayer series also. Yeah, Gegege no Kitaro, yeah. He's also an Oni. Or at least like his name is Kitaro and Ki is Oni. But yeah, so if you do, I don't know if people here are necessarily gonna be going to Kyoto or, I mean, Japan, but Kyoto has interesting places. There's also like specific stores in, oh, I think Hyakiyako happens during October in Kyoto also. I think it was October. At least October is when that happens, so you know, like, it's fun because Halloween happens in October, but like the procession is also a thing in October, so if you're a yokai, you get to do both. And then I guess if you're, you know, a certain type of demon, you get to also do both. Cause so demons are considered bad, like the whole term in English is supposedly bad, but it's interesting that there are two types of demons, and one is the type of demon that helps humans and then one's the other type that harms humans. But yeah, I don't really have that much knowledge about that. I'm more so aware of yokai and stuff like that. But yeah, it's interesting. Kojiki is interesting if you're interested in that, just because Kojiki starts off with like Shinto kami, right? But then they eventually like merge and fuse with history, so like historical figures and humans, and then there's like a whole story about why humans have short lives, relatively speaking. You know, like why they became mortals and not continued to be immortal like the kami used to be. There's actually one specific story. It's because Ninigi no Mikoto, who was kind of in charge of like going into the Gekai, which is the world of humans, and they were given a chance to get married to so these two sisters who were the daughters of this like more higher ranked god or kami. And then what happened was he's like, okay, I want one of them because she's beautiful, but the others two not my type, so I'm giving her back. And then the dad kami was like, oh, what? How dare you? And then that is apparently why humans have a lifespan. I think that's funny to me. I mean, you know, honestly speaking, like, I guess just how dramatic the Kojiki is kind of funny. But yeah, I recommend it if you like that kind of like dramatic kami being silly kind of stories, because that's like all in Kojiki. But yeah, and then there's it's interesting because like there are kami in the beginning who just kind of just appear, but then they're already full, like they're considered like their own kami, if that makes sense. So they're called hitorigami, and what that means is they don't have, they are not considered a male god or a female god. It's like they are both. And then they usually just appear and then they like disappear. They're like, hello, goodbye. The non-binary kami have been like, oh, hello, goodbye. And they don't have anything to do otherwise. They just like are just there and they exist. I think that's interesting too, because otherwise like kami don't necessarily need to be in pairs either. Like some kami can make more kami, not even like in the way that like humans probably imagine, because if there's like a male god and a female god, right, like is that similar to how humans have babies? But then some gods, like all they have to do is like change clothes and then the clothes become kami babies. Once you get into the world bending powers, it's kind of up to the imagination pretty much. Yeah, so the big kami, Amaterasu Omikami, that's the sun kami. Then you got Tsukuyomi no Mikoto, the moon kami. Then you got Susano no Mikoto. That's the earth kami. They don't have a mom because they were basically given form after Izanaki no kami who ran away from his wife because they had issues. So he goes to the underworld, or I don't know if it's underworld necessarily, but there's a kingdom, I guess, called Yomi no Kuni. Because Izanami dies from giving birth to a fire kami, and then that fire kami burns her from the inside, and then she basically dies, right? So then she goes to the Yomi no Kuni, which is, I guess, where deceased go. But then Izanaki was so sad that he wanted her back, so he goes to that world, right? And then he's like, I miss you so much. And then she's like, well, it's been a while, I guess if you don't look at me, and I'll follow you up back where we used to be, and maybe we can still be together. And you know, she says don't look at me, right? But you know, I guess he wanted to see her so bad that he does. And then she's like, you know, I told you not to look at me and you did. And then now you're afraid of me, and now I'm angry because you looked at me. So basically they have a chase, and then they like separate the worlds. And then when he's back, he cleanses himself, and he does like a ritual of purification. And that's when the big main kami, the sun, the moon, and the earth are born. So they do not have, you know, what is called a mom. That was, I think, you're talking about Susano no Kami. Susano no Mikoto. So he does kind of weird things. He like, basically when he's born, he's like, I want to see mom. But then mom is not really mom because he was born from the big dad god. And then so he's told to go away because he keeps crying, and then he makes droughts happen, and then he cries, and then mountains dry up, and he cries and floods happen, and he like has a lot of power, but then he's kind of uncontrollable, I guess. So then dad comes like, go away. you're making a mess, go away. And so he goes to see big sister Amaterasu no Mikami, and then he's like, you know, since he's like shaking the earth and everything, Amaterasu thinks he's gonna come and, you know, take over her world. But that's not really what he's there for, so he, you know, he has to prove himself. And then during like the ritual to prove that he is innocent, they both take each other's belongings and then chew it up and then blow it out, and then that creates more kami. And then since whatever Susano gave to Amaterasu became 3 female kami, so he's like, look, I'm innocent. You know, honestly, I don't ask me why that versus 5 male kami is like, one is like a win and one isn't, because I don't really get that. But anyway, so then Amaterasu like, okay, I'll accept that, and then lets him stay for a while. But then Sano just makes a mess there, and he just doesn't care that he's like doing terrible things until he like ends up killing one of Amaterasu's weavers. So there's like people who do like loom weaving. And yeah, then she's like, I've had enough. I'm gonna go and hide and become a hermit because this is ridiculous. And then that's when the sun goes into hiding. And what does that mean? That means all the other kami are having like chaos, I guess, because she's like the big order. Yeah, but I don't know. It's just really dramatic. But yeah, siblings are not necessarily similar. Yeah, it's interesting because, like, you know, kami have power, but also like because it's mixed in with humans, like there's parts of it that make sense for humans, but not so much if you think about how kami are beings with a lot of power. Yeah, and I always thought it was interesting that the story in the beginning is like, oh, you need like Izanami and Izanaki to make Japan, but then at one point they end up not being able to continue because Izanami dies. And then Izanaki makes more kami on their own anyway, and then those kami become like the order of the world, I guess. And then those kami make more kami, and then there's like another kami that exists that ends up taking over and creating the rest of Japan. But in the story, he's like this very, like, he basically has a lot of wives, and that's like how Japan is made. Yeah, it's weird to me because they're kami. It's weird, but that's just how the story is. And also there's like, you know, parts about like how his main wife is alone and sad because he's like out and about with like all of his other wives, and she's just like one female kami, and I'm like, you know, me with my own thoughts and ideas about relationships is like, why? The ugly god that the gods threw away when it was born. Not sure if it was like ugly, but it was supposedly not formed properly, and they just like kind of forget about it, which is weird to me too. And like the reason why is because like Izanami was the one who like proposed first instead of Izanaki, and then they went and like asked why they had strange babies, and then it was like, oh, because like, you know, the female kami proposed first, so that wasn't good or something. But then yeah, there's a lot of like I don't get it parts. But I'm also not someone who's like studied this in the way that, you know, there are colleges and universities dedicated to, you know, Kojiki and Nihon Shoki and stuff, so that's something you can study if you live in Japan. I mean, I guess the thing is, it's probably just that, like, you know, it was written at a time when things are very different, so why am I adding, you know, contemporary values that I have to this story? But, you know, it's funny, it's dramatic, it's interesting that they like wove in history into it. Yeah, also the Hiruko supposedly might be a different kami, and they like consider Ibisu as the possible like adult form of that baby. But that's not really like something that's said in Kojiki. That's just like people think maybe that would make sense. Yeah, I just find it kind of funny how there are a few instances where the female kami tell their husbands not to watch them or like look at them for just like a period of time. So what do the husband kami do? They just look, and then they freak out because they didn't like what they see, and then they run away. I find that funny. And also weirdly, like, I don't really understand, like, I get why there would be like maybe one story that's like that, but it's like multiple stories in the same book. I don't really get it. But it's funny. The parallel between the stories and the myth of Orpheus is... Yeah, I mean, it is interesting that there are parallels, but also it's kind of cool to know things about Shinto that, like, I heard recently. But yeah, you know how like big human world religions, like there's like the big ones, and not all of them seem like they would have anything to do with each other, but they all actually have some sort of connection. So like I kind of understand why maybe some mythologies would have similar parts to them. It might be like some way that humans think or something that may or may not necessarily be that different, even if it's like different cultures, different times. Or it could be that like one culture actually had more influence on another culture at some point, and then that just kind of stuck. But then there's no, good way to know that, because what we know now is really based on records and what can be seen from records, and not necessarily what was. Yeah, but don't if your wife is asking you not to look at her for a bit because reasons, maybe, it's not because she's like doing anything wrong, right? Maybe listen. That's just funny. The hero with 1,000 faces? I don't think so. What is that? A hero with 1,000 faces? Well, I guess I will look it up. And then I realize it's almost 1 a.m. here, and I do gotta do other stuff in the morning, so I may be wrapping it up now. I sleepy. Oh yeah, and I forgot to say that Jackie is Jackie is first to my stream according to redeems, and that they are lurking right now, so I will see them later. It's a thesis on how there are existing parallels in cultural stories and how humans tell the same story over. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, maybe I will like that. Or at least it would be interesting, because I don't know that much. Like, I've read a little bit about Greek myths. I don't really interact with Greek beings that often, so I don't really know what that's like as much as I do Japanese beings. But yeah, I'm gonna have a blast. Well, I guess they are. That's true. Although I don't really interact with them that much. At least not as much as I used to. But yeah, Yokai Street was fun. Yokai Do. They have old things that may or may not have tsukomogami attached to them. What was the moral of the story? Don't, like, take care of your things but not get too attached. That's funny to me. Yeah, what did I don't know if I'll finish me as a Keyblade warrior. It was kind of a fun idea, but it's like skewers with cotton candy and meat. I am looking forward to Sunbreak for Monster Hunter Rise. I know there's gonna be like a different version of some of the yokai monsters, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, I also have a couple games that I want to play eventually. It'll probably be after this month. So in July, I'll probably be back to like a more regular streaming schedule. You know, as regular as it gets for me, I guess. But I think it'll be more days in a week and not just like once or twice a week. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then I could probably... I don't know if I should leave art commissions closed or not. But I guess, you know, I don't really know a lot of people who are interested in commissions right now, so maybe I'll keep them closed until July when I have a little bit more time. Yeah. And then I mean, I'm kind of hoping, and there is a little part of me that's really hoping that maybe Monster Hunter Rise will have like more, you know, at least one more yokai related monster, because that would be fun. That would be nice. That's just me though. I know not everyone that plays Monster Hunter necessarily was like playing just for yokai, you know what I mean? I like my fellow yokai beings. I was asked if I like yokai watch, and I'm like, I don't really know anything about yokai watch. And then what is it? Jujutsu Kaisen. But did I have I guess I don't remember. Maybe I've talked about it, maybe I haven't, but like Jujutsu, you know how like curses are? I mean, I honestly don't like that word, but it's like not something that's that hard for people, and like humans do it all the time, like, and it's just like a matter of how you use words and who you say it to and how you say it to and all that. And like the easiest ones can just be like telling yourself you're doing a good job, and that's like a positive version. And that's why I don't like the English term for it, because it has like this like negative connotation. I mean, I guess I could also use the word affirmation. Yeah, so affirmations are a type of jujutsu if you would like to know. That'd be kind of a fun topic to talk about next time or something. But yeah, if I figure out when I'm doing the Elden Ring streams, I will post it to my Twitter and Discord. If not, it might just all be moved to after July. Ninechina. I will sleep in a bit. You get powered up by positive reinforcement power. Yes. Yes, yes. That is one way to use Jujutsu. Although, I guess I just happen to like really like the power of words, but then also I think it might be like a cultural thing because Japanese people talk about it a lot. And it's funny because you can say really nice things, but you do have to make sure you're saying it like to the right person, because just because you say nice words doesn't mean everyone's gonna be like happy about it, right? So if you say nice words to someone that knows that you're not very like compatible, you might be doing the opposite and making them feel weird. That's something you have to consider when you talk to a new person, I guess. But at the same time, if you feel like someone's doing that to you on purpose, though the power you have is just to not think about it or let it go. And then that's like its own version of, like, it's the opposite effect. Yeah. Having a perceived enemy compliment you feels weird. Yeah. Yeah. And then, like, you know, because it's not really that specific compliment is bad, right? It's more that you start thinking, like, why did they say that? Why are they, like, what do they want? And then you worry too much, and that's not good. So then if that happens, you go, oh cool, thanks, and then you just, like, you know, you let it go. You don't think about it. You just go, oh, okay, that happened. Interesting, whatever. Nice shoes proceeds to destroy you. Oh no. Oh no, I've told the villain the how to use their word power. That's what's gonna happen. Bird Moz comes back and then suddenly just, like, in the middle of, like, all the bad things, they'll just, like, throw in a really nice compliment and people will be like, oh, what does that mean? Yeah. Although, you know, it's a little different when you're, like, on social media, because sometimes when you do say something, you don't necessarily know who's reading it, right? It's not always, like, something you can predict. So I guess if you're on social media, just be careful not to say things that are, like, charged in any way. That doesn't mean you can't, it's just more like it's easier to not do that than to have to worry about other people feeling ways for you in different way, like you know, it might not necessarily be a good way. You look nice today, hold this, and it's like an explosion. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, that's kind of a fun topic to talk about. Yeah, and I could probably bring up a lot of examples of my own, maybe ask people about their own experiences with that, because, you know, I gotta use words to communicate. Anyway, thank you for hanging out with me as long as you did. Thank you. Thank you, Birdmoss. Thank you, Max. Thank you, Zero. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Voices, for thank you, Voices, for the raid. Thank you to people who came from the raid. Thank you, Mercury. Wait, thank you. Do I have everyone? I probably don't. I am probably missing the people who raided. Okay, thank you, Pompino, for following. Yeah, there's like 2 names I can't remember, but I know they said something. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for hanging out with me. It was kind of fun to just start doodling skewer blade wielder me. You know, I didn't really think about what I was gonna draw, so that was a fun direction to take. Yeah, and then Zero, I hope you are able to figure out your haircut. Yeah, you could even just try a bunch of haircuts that you might think it doesn't look necessarily good on that face, I guess. You know, but it might grow on you. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Twitter and Discord if you would like to stay up to date. But thank you also if you were just watching and, you know, listening to me babble on about yokai and words and Japanese myths and stuff. And also, if you are watching this as a video on Twitch, maybe on YouTube, thank you very much for your company. I hope you have a fun day, fun night, fun time wherever you are at, and I will see you in the next stream or video. それではご視聴ありがとうございました。P さんとクリスさんコメントありがとうございます。その他の方はミルセンで来てくださってた方ありがとうございます。あとはアーカイブで見てくらはってる方めっちゃ言えないけどありがとうございます。これからも配信や動画見ていただけると嬉しいです。まあね、結構妖怪とか古事記のお話を英語でしてたのでね、ほとんど英語ですけど、それでも見てくれたらつよつおです。もしかしたら俺の他 他にもね、どっちもできる方いっぱいいると思うのでね、もしかしたら聞いてくださってる方の中で、ね、英語と日本語両方普通にできる方もいっぱいいるかもしれない。ありがたい。お話ししましょう。それでは次の配信か動画でお会いしましょう。ベンでした。なんかお絵かきもできたけどなんかキングダムハーツの自分変な発想になって面白い形になったけど、ちょっと今 iPad さんがねちょっと調子悪かったので途中までしか書けませんでした。まあそれはいいけど、Twitter か Discord かで、次の配信また言うのでよろしくお願いします。Okay. This was Ven. If you're sticking around for the raid, my raid message is you've been raided. If not, I will see you later. Bye bye. レイドするので、それが終わるまでいらっしゃる方はそのまんまでお願いします。レイドメッセージは You've been raided です。そうじゃなくても口が回らん。舌が回らん。そうでなくても大丈夫です。それではごきげんよう、ベンでした。バイバーイ。バイバーイ。バイバーイ。